Okay. Wednesday, November 16, 2016. Going to go and run this live show for a few hours while we go into EIA. Dollar did come off its high. Like I said, whatever pullback is coming in the dollar, we will be buying it. It's kind of an obvious thing, but when it becomes obvious like this, you have to be careful for data-related news. Okay, we have next week. We have working on Thanksgiving. Their markets will be open on that Friday. We'll know ahead of time because they're gonna, just like everything else, they're moving everything up. All right, looks like they are taking that out of the financials I talked about last night. Just the volume bars there, like on Bank of America. We'll zippity-doo through those here. Canadian dollar looks like continue on with oil higher here. Gold didn't follow yesterday. The gyrations of the dollar, oil did. So that just basically, the move in oil basically told me it's short covering. We know there was some OPEC news related. Remember, America gets the majority of its oil from Canada, like 40% of it, a third from OPEC nations, and then the rest from non-OPEC nations. What do we have here? 6E. Let's take a look at the volume bar on here. It's under bar. There's candle trend, Heikin-Ashi, line, area, and equivolume. The other thing is line is, it helps out in regards to like the candlesticks and that. Basically just drawing trend lines, basically find a price and a moving average and just do a crossover that way, because of how you have it set up, you should be able to get the majority of the move. 70-80% of that bell curve, that's what you're shooting for here. And in regards to trends, right? Okay, so after sideways, a trend develops. Even if you say that this is a larger sideways area here, you still had the trend develop. Okay, so if we break it down to say a 15-minute one, you can see the moves, and all of a sudden here you have a shoulder, a head, and a possible shoulder on the euro here, 6E. I'm going to set an alert above this previous high. Okay, I'm looking for some sort of pullback in the dollar. I'm not looking for the dollar to collapse on itself, but this is a period of where money gets a little bit loose, so there's extra dollars out there per se. We are getting to the end of the year, so there's taxes, funds have to kick out, capital gains, things of that nature. So you have a lot of time where they're not making the big decisions here on new positions at this time of the year. Japanese yen does look like it's bouncing off the bottom here. Mexican peso basically taking a breather, I think, before going higher. 6N, just like 6A, working on some sort of bounce. Any bounce on the Swiss franc here, short it. Oil looks to be making, this is Brent, looks to be making a bull flag here. And the next upward targets would be upper 47. 47, 48. Same thing with crude. The targets would be upper 46 to 47. Be the next swing higher. And here's the dollar index, and you can see the nice little reversal bar here. These are 4 hours, a heck of a pause. When it stalls like this, it doesn't take much to move it back, right? To reverse it. I mean, 25 points, and you're working at coming under 100 again. It is just a round number. That's how I look at it. All right, so again on the ES, these are little dots from the bottom on the 4-hour chart, right? This is a pretty good trend. I did talk about going from S2 to R2. Ding, ding, ding. Okay. When you go from one extreme to another, this is slingshot or catapult or springboard or whatever you want to call it, bouncing off a low. It would have been nice if it was during American cash hours that were open. Then we would have had a huge flush, and that would have helped out with the pink dots. So I just assume with the futures and that they're able to actually put on the positions, we'll say synthetic longs with the cash. Okay, with the cash being closed, they're able to put it on with the futures here. As oddball it is, 4-hour money flow says people aren't interested. If I drop it down to 2 hours here, you can see it's a little more sensitive. Hard run up into here on the money flow. Okay, pullback. What was kind of discerning to me was on the move up. Folks actually didn't want any part of it until the high, and that's where we swiped the 80 breakout. Okay, to get folks back in, swiped it and came back. Now, how far did we drop? So we dropped about roughly 20 points or so. Okay, so a 20-point drop. So that's about a fifth or a sixth of the contract, 7. All right, so percentage-wise, that's huge. That's why we try to leave extra moolah in the account. All right, so it hits the dots, okay, on the 2-hour chart. I just picked 2 to add more data in here because of the wider range. Now, for the long side here on the swipe, talked about being about in the 50% area here, 65 to 68. I think I threw the numbers out as. And we're getting a bounce. What I would suspect is if we do get a swing higher, Russell looks pretty good this morning. The Dow's actually coming through. NASDAQ, and then the S&P is kind of stalling here. Basically, I'm going to give the market half an hour. I usually give it some time here because of the amateurs are in the open and the pros do the close. We also have Europe. Do we want to move stocks higher and close Europe at the highs and then say trade lower in the US? Remember, a lot of these individual issues trade overseas too. But for right now, we'll see how she works out. For those of you that are long, or if you didn't get out at the 80 level or out at somewhere on this one, just put the stops under today's low for right now. When I talk about 4 points, if you're not within 4 points, the low to the next one is about 3 points. Okay, so that's the 4-point deal, and that would be a reversal. Okay, if you're not within 4 points, I came within 5, but it swiped and came through. So, if you put something in overnight, 80 and a quarter or 80 and 3/4, however you did it, or some of you may have scaled up 81 at a 80 at a quarter, 80, 75, 81 at a quarter, 81, 75, 82 and a half, that kind of thing. For scaling into it, the swing into it, warned about a jab failure, we got to come back 20 points. That's not bad. 20 points, if you're up and actively trading it, or the dots the other way. So what do we have? Okay, so you have the dots here. All right, dots were hit. They go back the other way. No dots, no dots. Stop. We had a bound cheap trend line, right? Cheap trend line, dots, and then this is the second one. So now we poked our head through it here. So you'd be back out at the pivot area from down here. So that's within 4 points. So I suppose you could have a 4-point trailer on here, right? That's about 3, possibly 4. So yeah. Okay. So here's the money coming in on the swing off the lows here. Okay. That's a 15-minute chart. I'll move it back to 30. I can see the money coming in. That's why I said I'd give it some time. I am going to assume, the one that we're working on now is the NASDAQ. I'm going to assume that once in motion stays in motion, all right? So your NASDAQ poked through and then came back. So that was kind of a rough go there. But you know, if we see the Dow and the Russell continue, then I expect it to pull the S&P higher. And then eventually we'll get the NASDAQ going with the program here. Gold, up $4. We're not getting the follow through, but one more day. So just what's the low here? Okay, so 1220, which was a number I remember. So price has memory. Try to give it another, you know, try and give it some love here. Let's see on the dollar. The pound, or excuse me, the euro's at 107.15 cash wise. All right, that's the debt. But I want to go and do this. All right, so here's our dollar. Heck of a move, you know, coming off of 97, 96 area. It's snagged it by a dime here. Round numbers, it's okay. You're precise as, you know, we all will break down. Just some of us will go down to tick charts, which is fine, you know. But I, you know, kind of look at the bigger picture. Okay, so the round numbers. I mean, if you're marching into something that costs $97,000, you know, if I start talking, you know, to buy at 97 and then 96 kind of deal, you know, I assume you can handle a little more than a 1% drop. You know, especially in the futures for the overall value, they talk about no more than 3% of your portfolio and something. Well, a lot of us are going towards this leverage stuff. I gyrate towards the leverage stuff because of, I look for a setup and I take it, and then it's, I usually pause. I usually, if I don't think it's going to drop too far, I'll sell an at the money or slightly out of the money option. Okay. Like if we swing higher, say I buy in. Okay, so today the continuation of buying in. Okay, so we're in, right? Okay, so if another swing higher here, I mentioned 87 and the 2200, maybe I'll sell a 2200 call. It'll give me some protection on the downside just in case we swing 30 points the other way. The other thing too is you can sell a call, you know, at wherever you're happy with and buy 2 or 3 puts. Okay, so you're protected that way. Okay, that's more of a spec play, but also look at it as you're buying short-term insurance on your total portfolio. Because what we're trying to do is preserve what you have right now. Some of you are always for capital gains, but you have to have a plan. Try and make an X amount of percentage a day. You know, if you can make $200 a day, trading one ES contract, that slides you up, right? And then you can find a different time to do it at. Some of you who get up earlier, you could probably trade it over London. You know, I like to slide from London into the United States because, you know, what do we have when we woke up to this? What do we know? Well, we went and swiped the high, couldn't hold it, and we actually came in pretty decent. Dipped below the pivot, and then this is the support level. So there are probably a lot of orders down here at 64. Okay, that's also about the meaty part of the move here, and there's a nice point of control. So this is, the bulls are eager to buy, is basically what I'm reading off of it. But you had to hold, you know, a pretty decent drop down here. What's that, 17 or so? You know, it's 16, 17. You had to hold that for you. You know, if you're buying on the breakout, if you're a bull. All right. I'll move up to the NASDAQ here. Take a look at that one. Okay, so the NASDAQ here. All right. I am going to guess that the money would be running into the NASDAQ here. You know, if I had to pick 4 of them, you know, the Dow's doing its thing, the Russell's doing its thing, and that if I, you know, I'd run into the NASDAQ futures wise. Okay. I'm going off of basically a lot of hope there, you know. But I don't like it in general. I mean, from when it hit the high, it traded lower, it cleaned out the money flow, right? Cleaned out the money flow. did its shucking and jiving here. You know, you went from one extreme to the other. Okay. The Dow and the Russell, they poked their heads through. The ES just did so this morning, and this is the best. So we have the first lower high. Okay, like I said, we came half back, double bottomed here. So here, about halfway back, it's trying to make a push. So in theory, you'd buy the breakout, right? You'd help out the situation, which would help out the money flow, fresh money coming in. You should have a run from 80 to this, so it's about 24 points. Okay, and your stop would be down below this, which is that's 40 points in mechanical world. Okay, you can move it up higher. You know, move it 5 behind, 10 behind, that kind of thing. Let's take a look here. See how it's playing out here. Okay, so you have the money move in here. So you're going to have to, no doubt about it, bulls are going to have to support. They should be buying the dip here. Oops, did that again. It's down below. I'm just picking just an area. This is 20 lower. Okay. But I'd be close on this one here. You know, if I was a bull, you know, I'd be supporting it. You need to take reversal here. If it comes through, you take it. Basically, this is how I'd kind of look at it, is I'd trail something this way to get you in. Okay. Because he had the money come into it. We got some profit taking coming up to the upper range here. Okay, triggered or above. All right. Okay, so that is the NASDAQ. So alarm, see if platinum kicks up. See if any of them kick up here. Here's sugar, so we're down to the 20 area here. All right, here's the happy place, a little under 20. Okay. Keep an eye on sugar. Silver, same thing. How can you have inflationary, or you know what I'm saying? How can you have some go and some not go? So that to me is a tell. All right. So it dries. Limit up. Okay. Interesting nonetheless. Wednesday, so pre-market 70. Okay. So that was the 13% I was talking about. Okay, ultra bonds. All right, so they failed to make a lower low here. Okay. So you have, how I kind of look at it is you have an A, B, C type pattern here. So it'd be A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3. So I'd expect to swing up here in the bonds into like the 166 area. I'm just eyeballing it. It is a pretty decent run here, so you can do your Fibonacci retracement. Mostly obvious looking things, right? Like I said before, I use all of the data. It's because of if you just use local time, like with what we had, and the futures chart and the cash chart for the S&Ps and the other indexes are totally different looking, right? And so it's like trying to play coach up in the stands, staring down at the field. I guess you could go to 160. Like I said, it's just a rough shot here. Swing up and we'll say 168. I said 166, but for the Fibonacci deal, once it clears, which it is here, this is your happy place. This would be your trailer, and that on these ultra bonds. Whoops, that's back to dries. 104. Where are we at? 89. There's 102 again. We'll do it that way. Crazy insanity. I mentioned it too. All right, so we had a bounce here in the futures. Okay, under 14, 13 and change. There was the rollover type deal. Okay, should take a look at one of those here. Let's see here. All right, I am looking for OCC calendar, right? Calendar. All right, I have to switch this over. All right, what I have going on here, I searched for OCC. It's Options Clearing Corporation. Okay, and so they have a calendar. All right. All right, so take a look at 2016, and we're down to November and December. Okay. All right, so what do we have? We have, going forward, 16 VIX expires. All right, we have VIX expires. We'll have VIX expires again on the 22nd. That's after here. VIX expired prior. Okay, other times that's happened, you can take a look through and see, like January and February, that were lows. VIX expired after. VIX expired before here. Okay, and then basically we marched on higher into late June with Brexit, and then a swing up. And this was basically the high, if you kind of look at it for issues and stuff. And VIX expired prior. Okay, so it basically bounced and took off. Okay, September, October, and then November here. November was we started selling off right away. and then VIX expires. So here what I'm looking for is on a swing higher that would actually force the VIX derivatives into new lows. Okay, and that's what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for like an artificial type deal here, where all of a sudden you begin to rotate again, and here's expiration in December, and VIX expires afterwards. Okay, so you may have where I won't face the, what was it, contango? Yes, where price is lower than the back, right? Yes, compared to backwardation or normalization, where price is higher in the front. There's demand now, so price would go up. If the price is higher in the back, that would mean storage costs and things of that nature, financing it for, that kind of thing. Oh yeah, I'll build it for you, deliver it in 3 months. What will it cost? Well, 3 months of capital plus time for the other person to pay, on and on and on. Okay, so that's kind of how I'm playing the VIX side of things, is that because of this rollover, it's kind of fluffy. I'd like to see the stock market go higher and then bring the VIX things down. Okay, so we saw the mechanical side on VIX only a few times over 4 years, 3 years. That it's been down into this range. Like I said, it's that lower, 80% or 90%. It's a mechanical thing. It's down there. Of course, things are frothy then. So, if they're willing to give you puts and you can go out, 3 months, 6 months, whatever, that kind of thing. Like in my case, I would actually, I'd probably go out, or the February to April period again. I have to go look up and see how many times in the past, the first day of January or the first week of January actually was the high for the year. We actually set the lows in there. So what about the high for 1 year anniversary? So that's what I look or anticipating. Oops, maybe my pointer. Okay. So with the rollover and things, I'd like to see the VIX come down, because I think we looked at it this way. You have, actually, let's try this. My little orbs. Okay, so here are orbs, weekly. This will give me yearly, right? Yeah, okay. So here are my little orbs, okay, on the VIX. So, happy plate VIX futures. There's 13. So 14 and a half. Okay. Ding, ding. I'm more than happy, right? We'll just set an alarm in there. Okay. And then on the upper range, here's where we're at. Okay. So this is like the hurdle for clearing the fence. Okay. All right. And then on the way up, you can see that it stalls somewhere around the 18. Okay. So it's the same thing. Buy under, I say 15, but that's just because of the psychology in it. Okay. All right. Okay. So it's just a very tight pattern here. It's one of those where if you are long, you buy in, you place your stop underneath it, and then just the amount of swing here, or the shallowness, shows how bullish it is. It's, if we're going to enter that phase where all the little things just kind of jump on board, that I wrote about 1997, 98, 99, just for whatever, I don't know. They all just gang up on tulips or beanie babies or something. I don't know. Okay. They just gang up on it. All right. I'd, yeah, hold on to it, just let her ride, But for me, it'd be more of a swing thing, and I'd just due to the fact of how uh, the amount of move up and how it's pausing, it's to me, it begins to push me back of, okay, it's really, really bullish. And what you have to watch out for is that if you lose connectivity to your broker, if you don't put on stops, things of that nature, it's I've been around a long time. A lot of different things have happened to me. I just want to be cautious. What would be my ideal world? The stock market pulls back a third, in general, the indexes in general, which we already seen. There's a lot of selling going on behind the scenes. Take the high of some of these issues. What did I do yesterday? Stocks that were, what was it, 50% off their high of the 52 weeks? I mean, that was pages, hundreds of issues. All right. Okay. Sure, not following through here. It was frothy, though. That's why the whole VIX thing here. Okay, bulls have to hold on to this deal here. And if I get off the beaten path, I need to go to the weekly here. Oh, a lot of bodies in here. Just it pokes its way through and comes on down. You can see it slide the other way. See, that's what I worry about. That it gives it the little train that could gets up and then just slides all the way back for whatever reason. It's not that I'm for every president that comes through. I'm kind of a nationalist. I support them, whoever they are, or who he, who, him, her, it, whatever. I believe in the country. I'm sure folks in Britain, same thing, that they are the greatest, but we know better than that. So I understand the Make America Great Again, but when you're in an 84% service economy, lots and lots of BS, but that I look at it from an economist point of view. I mean, we have people that are in their 70s working. How about we do this? We change the retirement age to 55. It's already messed up, right? The numbers are off. The tipping point. We're going to have to raise taxes, right? Oh yeah, they're going to pay. No, so we need to find a happy medium here. Yeah, I come from a long line of bankers, lawyers, and politicians. And my grandfather went to Washington. But I ended up doing the whole leather pants and screaming guitar. Wah! And then I knock up a groupie. And things kind of change around the household. Pitter patter, pitter patter. I make it up as I go along. Remember my shtick. Somebody asked me, what would I do for the rest of my life? And I said, I'd get on stage, do my spiel for 20 minutes, or warm up guy or something. Headliner I could pass, whatever. My ideal, of course, is to do the whole stadium thing in Europe. I'll be the 10 a.m. guy, 10 a.m. or noon or whatever, and mosey on off and go to the museums and that. Go look at stuff. Go touch history, sir. Don't touch that. All right, so like I said, this is the VIX. So it's a VIX futures, basically back and forth, the same thing too. It's buy under 15, buy under 14, buy under 13, buy under 12, buy under 11, that kind of thing. And then sell when here, I mentioned, I usually mention 15, 14, 13, that kind of thing. And then the other way around, 16, 17, 18. Then we got up to this area. Look at this, right? Here's a 30, here. Okay, not bad for an upswing in the U.S. economy or in the stock market, right? So how about this silly goodness here? All right, and these are bell curves. Okay, even on the low end, so you're going to at least get an 18 a year, right? I mean, even if you like here's a 2022. Like when I said the swing on this last time, it was 2024. There you have it. Now we're back to 15. Same thing, if we get another swoon, that we're going to set some records up here. Okay. Well, the markets just, they be selling off the upper end there, I tell you. Not much on the follow through. All right, YM. Yeah, we're at Wednesday. This is the ugly bar. Man, are we gonna leave bodies up here? Gonna have to come through, people. Marrakesh. All right, so this is Nike. Wrote about Nike being 2 to 4 higher. Not much is going on here. I think it opened up here, right? Yeah. Or here's the open bar. What do we have? Well, that's early trade, right? Yeah. Okay. So opened here, traded lower. Now we sprung higher. So this is the clip to get into 51, 52. Wherever you're at in here, put a stop in. It's going to be tight. So it's one of those where, you know, what's that, 30 cents? Depending upon what you have on, I guess that's a $30 move there. So we need another swing here higher to get this thing going. Bonds, like I said before, an ABC up into this area up in here. Wheat, corn. Like I said, any type of bounce to some hedging. I think it's going to be a mild winter and a bumper crop year. Yeah, it looks like, you know, a movement into paper here. I think this is just corrective. Those were 5-year notes. Here's our oil that reversed soybean oil. Basically came up to what used to be support. I mean, you could just see the people getting out of this thing. They just give me out, you know, which is an interesting. What is it, 4-hour chart? Yeah, it's kind of interesting. They didn't even want to give it anymore. They just give me, you know, out. Which probably goes along the lines with the soybeans too, right? Here's meal, go along with corn. It's in its happy place, but, you know, I'm playing defensive on wheat and corn here. And our euro is working our way back down to the low range here. So we're staying under 107. What's the low ends? 10. Okay. So what's a high on here? 14, and we're at 7. That'd be 6. That'd be 8. That would be 90. 98. So on the euro for a channel. Okay. We'll point that out here. All right. You know, whoops, let's go this way. Progress, Kev, progress. Soybeans, same thing. Basically for right now, have a range for today. But like I said, I think it's going to head on lower. Let's take a look at the daily on the beans. Probably working on a bear flag to lower. If this is true, this money flow, see how it ran into here? Here they came back in, piled on. Below that, yeah, I have a mark right. Yeah, below that, like I said, I think it's going to slide down here. Twos, it does look like kind of a double bottom here, and Basically a short covering bounce. Okay, we're back to here on, let's move you down. I'll work for reversal. Prices are down here. Where are we at for time? 11 after. Okay. The pound. Okay. Okay. So, whoops. All right. So we're getting money to lead price here. So you're going to need more money, basically. And that would be the reversal on the way back down for oil. I'll just mark that for down. I'll give, oil had a pretty good move yesterday. You probably had some people that were, they short. So um, have to mess with them. A lot of volatility, which is good for some that can handle it and bad for others, you know. All right, so this is E here. So we're getting some decent see what I'm looking for here is like the pause. Now you have money flow above price. Okay. So you have some people coming in here to support this thing. Okay. Drop it down even further. All right, see if it swings. Now, if I had a moving average here, yeah, money flow is now above the price. So here we'll try for 108 again. All right, I'm doing my trend lines over here. Okay. Have alarms, yeah, 108.15. We'll take it down here. 30. So 100. So you possibly, yeah, if it clips out above the highs here, you have a shot at making 100 on here. 80 to here, and then 100 if it pokes above back to 108. Okay. And Japanese yen, same thing. Uh, let's see here. Where is our Aussie Japanese yen? Down. All right. Okay, so yesterday night talked about it there. 42.50. Okay, so you have 100 for my evening, late afternoon, evening email on the short Aussie yen. All right, so put a stop above about 81.80, kind of trail a stop there. Okay. All right, take a quick break. I'll be right back. Okay. Basically have set up here. Brent crude is ticks down 32 right now. 39 on regular crude. Move this up to 5-minute bars here. Take a look. I'm looking for the volume. I guess I can do that over here too and match them up. All right. Okay. Since oil has been trending up for a while, you'd want to support down in this area. If you saw follow through on the upside, the money flow should pick up. All right. All right. Lots and lots of oil. See how this pans out. All right. Back into a pivot area here. Alrighty. Fat bars. Back to equivolume. Okay, so we had some decent selling here. All right. So Brent down 50 cents. Okay, they're biting off the pullback. Canadian dollar's coming down nicely. And NASDAQ. All right, so there's the pivot on the Canadian dollar. Okay, decent move here off the bottom of oil. And they cleaned them out here. What is this, a 5 minute? Okay. I'll do it this way here. Okay, it's a little bit of a rush there. Basically the range, what do we have? 74 and a half, 74. So 50 range, half a buck, or half a penny, I guess, on Canadian dollar. There we go. Okay, so next target, we're back up to 47 to clear this here. Okay, so if we use to say for example, we're going to use this as an inverted head and shoulders, and this is the neckline, 46, and I'll just use round numbers. That's $4. So that actually would be a shot at 50 again. I'd say it's stall around 47 and 30 here, but of course it has to clear this area first. Okay, looks pretty good there. Good to go. Just trail your stop underneath heroes on the Canadian dollar. If it breaks out, move it from here to here kind of thing. What am I looking for? Okay. Okay, here's cotton. Pretty decent run so far. Basically pull back. You can call this kind of a dragon pattern, that kind of thing. First swing higher. This is going to be your support area down here at 64. Cotton is one of those that can get pretty erratic. Okay. But this looks like a pretty decent setup for right now for the amount of time that it's taken to kind of set up, broke on through. Got a lot of frothy, unbalanced volume here with the daily. Now there is here on the daily. So we'll pull back to 63. That's a nickel lower here in cotton. Okay, where are you, cotton? Here you are. 70, right here. 69, 60 should work. The old tighten up the stops on the cotton. On short term, where there's the bodies are, they're anticipating the move higher here. The deal is you have to go, if there are funds in that, you have to go with it. Okay, but the deal here is just the caution on the cotton. Okay. Alrighty. Canadian dollar. Okay, Canadian dollar. All right. Notes, same thing again. Down here is a series of support levels. Basically, I just look at it as corrective in nature on the pullback here. That's how I look at it. ES still working off of this morning's. We're back up to 80 again, 75, I guess, for right now. I wanted to get down to the NASDAQ. Same thing with all the debt, just a bounce in oversold bounce. Crude oil, like I said, next target probably about 87 area up in here. To twos, not as much of a bounce. Plus, there's a lot of flow in here. It's the front end. People aren't. I think they're still leaning that nothing happens with the FOMC in December. Bond, basically ABC. It does look like an ABC pattern. Euro dollars. This is where most of the pressure should lie on the front end of rates. And here's the euro to go along with the dollar. What do we have going on here now? We have the Canadian dollar coming off, just seeing if we're going to get the euro to help out the situation with the stronger dollar here. Okay, it's just 5 minute, or we're at just as a new bar. Okay. Yeah, we'll do it this way. Gold, not much there. That's about the end of that story. Game over in the gold. Where are we at? Are we up? Down 60 cents now. We're up a couple of bucks. I'm going to drop you down a little bit further here, right? Yeah, that'll work. 1220. That's the new number here. And Japanese yen. Let's see if we get a reversal. And NASDAQ. Okay, so we did get a pop through. So basically, what you do is you could just trail for today. Trail your stop. Okay, you know it breaks out above here. You move. All right. So it bounces off a support level down here. Okay, you get back in, it comes up, it comes down, it comes through. You'd move your stop up from down below to underneath here. You can trail it with the dots, like here with the reversal. Okay, you can. I believe you can set sound to these dots too. All right, so 160.90 on the euro. See if this holds and hammers. Holds and hammers. That's a new one, Kev. Take a look here. All right, so that's the NASDAQ. Move it up further. Okay. So we're getting a swing here. Body's coming into it. And the next move, yeah, should be up in the 20s, 48.20 if this thing holds. All right, so looks to be 106, almost 80 on the euro here. That Canadian dollar still dropping or still rising. Along with the oil, we got a pause. Okay. All right, so we see that the reasoning why gold is rolling over. All right, so the bulls need to hold this today. If they lose 47.68, I'd be a little nervous here because that'd be about halfway back of all of it today. 4-hour chart. I'm basically stuck in the center here. Okay. Copper under pressure this morning, down about 4 cents. Looks like it's going to continue lower. I did talk about FCM. Unfortunately, down 32 cents. So that trade's probably off, though. It did trade up. Right, where am I at? 4-hour chart. Maybe you guys were able to pull those off. So we're back to the beginning. Okay, Aussie dollar. It does look like we have to see if the dollar holds its strength to the end of the day here. Bonds, okay, you can see the first level here. The next level is a couple of points higher. Need to move you up to today's low just in case something quick comes out. That's why we have the stops in. Sugar, corn, natty gas. Okay, so it came down, bounced up, found support on the median average and a green support line. It's trading above pivot, okay, or closed above pivot, trading above pivot today. If it holds, the next swing higher would be up into the 280 area. The happy place here is 277 and change. EIA tomorrow with the unbalanced or with the money flow that I see here, I would lean to buy any weakness in natty gas. Just depending upon how, if I wake up tomorrow morning and it's, we're below like 258 or something, then I'd stretch it to, we're looking for down 40 cents on this thing here. Soybeans coming off, we're down 4. Canadian dollar, money's coming into it here. So there should be continuation there. Silver, basically, one more swipe down below it here. It should clean out the rest of these here. So we're back to following this in gold again here. We're still getting some movement here, even though I believe the equities or the indexes are moving, have an upward bias. Here's TF. Okay, I need to move an alarm up further. Move you up to there. How tight can I get it? That's too tight. All right, Mexican peso, as this goes higher, US peso comes down. And that's how I'd kind of lean myself on it. Let's see, we're at 2027 right now on it. Okay. All right. It's kind of a stuck, it's more like a pause. Dollar, here's the dollar. We're going to watch here closely. All right, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Like we saw this morning, where are we at? What did I have? All right, so what do we have going on here? Okay, now we have a lot of volume, okay, in the morning. Okay, so this is like US Open type, pre-open, Europe type of deal, right? Lots of volume, we took it out of it. Now we're swinging higher. Now if you look at the money flow is actually higher, okay, than where price is. So people have committed a lot of money to this, but they're not getting as far with the money. So they're, in my eyes, things are the weak hands are getting involved here. That's how I kind of look at it. And okay, how far off am I in that? A dime. Okay. So what I'm looking, and this is 5 minutes. So what I'm just looking at is as you break out to new, you get some volume here. Then you come back about halfway. You get a swing again. Unbalanced volume is up here. So to me, it's on a short-term basis. It's getting frothy. And so that's why I said watch this. Then just draw your trend line underneath it here. Possibility of, where is this at? 60. Okay, alert, 57. Yeah, that'll work. 57.5 because it's rising. What I'm looking for here is that there's another jab and a failure, and then you come on through back test 100. That's what I'm looking for. It's basically just you know, you get your move up. You know, you're long. You know, 86, 87, and you're walking this thing up through 100. Yes, my next swing is 101 to 103, but do you want to hold it down to 99 kind of deal? You're looking, if you get stopped out here, you support it here, you support it here kind of thing. In theory, you continue to buy the breakout and then move your stops up until you get hit, until you get stopped out. And you basically sucked up the majority of the curve of the bell curve of trading. Okay, you got into here, you move your stop up, move your stop up, move your stop up, and things are getting narrower. So it's getting spiky too. You can feel that. You can feel it. Money's coming in. What is this on an hourly basis? It might be too. Yeah, see, I'm looking for that. It kind of stalls out here. That's what I'm looking for. Where are we at? So we're going to have Europe close here. Okay, so maybe close the dollar at the high for Europe. Kind of how I look at it here. Bean oil came off, and I'd be right back. Okay, so take a look here. We poked on through on the dollar. Price is higher. Money flow is below. Okay, here on a 15-minute chart. And basically, what you do is you buy the breakout, and you move your stop up. You buy the breakout, move your stop up. Here, depending upon how tight you are, this is a 15-minute chart. It came back against you there. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so you get your run up. Okay, it pulls back, extended amount of time. You buy the breakout, move up your stops from down here. So it clears it. You move all your stops up. So you bought in down here. You're up to here on the dollar. Same thing. Pulls back. You buy the breakout. Get the breakout. You move your stops from here to here. And now things are getting narrower and narrower. So things are turning on the bullish thing here. So I want to keep an eye on. Here's the breakout. Here's the volume. Plus, also, if you're short, right, most people logically would have their buys there. If you shorted here, or you did it at a resistance line here, right, and now you get the pause here at the linear regression line. Kind of tighten this up some. Hold it. What do I need? What are we at? Week to date. 3 minute. 3 minutes should work. That should work, yeah. All right, so linear regression line. Okay, but what we're working on here is we're trying to watch to see if there's a failure up here. And there should be, volume and all that fun stuff. The next continuation higher would be up here, 64. Wheat, kiwi, oils come back into range. As long as it holds, Brent holds 62, it's just kind of hanging in there. This is the happy place. but the dollars, like I said, the dollar is going to be an issue going forward. Good for buying oil and stuff overseas. That's what we'll end up doing, buying a lot of stuff overseas. Still moving into debt. The equity is kind of lost their mojo here. We're going to hit the dots here, so it's going to get a reversal here. All right, so this is how this pans out with the dots and the arrows. If you get one on the top, what you're doing is you're looking for places to buy. Okay. No, excuse me. Where am I at here? Right. You get a buy signal because it hits here. Yeah, you're waiting for a pullback, and you're trying to end up a buy. Okay. But what I do is I usually give it a double set. Okay. So it's like you get here's one, and then here's one, and now I'd be looking for the pattern. Okay, so I give it, because usually this is what you get. So you get 1, 2, 1, 2, and here was the reversal type of thing. Okay, so the same thing at 1, 2, 1, 2, and here's the pullback. 1, 2, here we are 1, 1. So we're right. Did I miss one? 1, 2, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there. 1, 2, 3. Okay, all right. So come back. 1, 2, 3. So here, what it is it the swing now? Is you're looking on this one here is to buy on the dots. That's how I kind of treat it. I guess this wasn't a very clear chart. You had money move into it here on the open. Still hanging in here. Yeah, they're moving into paper. Crude oil's hanging out a little bit better than Brent. 2 years not participating, which is fine. Here's the bonds. They're the most clubbed, so you figure that they'd have the largest pullback. Euros, and this is E. Okay, so trying to see. Bring this back down. See with the dollar, right? We're watching the dollar, so then we watch the euro. What we're looking for is areas to get back into the dollar, or excuse me, add on weakness, the whole dip deal. Gold still hanging in there, but it's taking way too long for what you see in oil. It's when you start parlaying all these things that need to go along with the correlation, it's just taking a little too long. The oil was kind of, to me, it was like, oh, that must be short covering. Now, if oil's going higher, in the face of a lot of supply, that's a tell, right? Okay. Yesterday was short covering. Today, if it's there, well, then we get a little bit more. Why isn't gold going with? It's the dollar. The yen. Oh, where are you, yen? We're looking for you to come back down. All right, to add more. So right now you're continuing to be buy the breakout and move up the stops. So I want to see a larger correction, but like I mentioned in this morning's, or larger correction, a larger sideways pattern. Somewhat to pull back part of the move from the 101 area to where we're at, 109, 110, which would be about half back. Let's take a look here at a daily. We run into problems. What's that next level? 112. Okay. Man, that was a decent amount of volume there. Nice. Okay. Yeah, let's take a look at that too. Add in the volume. Okay. So we're roughly about half back on here. Okay. Because like I said, it's add and then swoon further kind of thing. Add the whole 5 pattern down. This is a good one. This is a good drop about halfway. So it's basically looking for some sort of bounce. This is what I'm looking for. Kind of a larger move, you know, like a bear flag maybe, coming off the lows here. But as this comes down, the end crosses go higher. NASDAQ, all right. How are we doing over here? Wyatt, what are we waiting for? I'm considering it hasn't done much in a week. Okay. I have to hold here for the NASDAQ 47.67. Oops. FCX. That was with the copper. No bueno there. What do we get for fat bars? Copper. Yeah. See, this was the sign for me with the copper here. FCA. Now they bought Phelps Dodge, which is a big name back when. So I assume this isn't going to go bankrupt like General Motors. But this would be one of those that I'd want to acquire when we go into the next recession, that kind of thing. Do I think it's more to run to the upside? Well, it's one of those you buy the breakout, move your stops underneath, which is less than $1, 80 cents. Bonds still kind of pushing here. The way that the bonds are working, it's telling me that maybe equities try and give it one more swing, but they're pretty sedated. The Russell came off pretty good off of its run. The Dow and the Nasdaq are kind of holding it up a little bit better, and then the ES, you can see here, it's almost like news related. Waiting for some sort of news. Sugar, corn, natty gas, up a nickel, found its happy point. Beans, lows of the day, off a nickel. Canadian dollar still pumping, still moving. Move that stop up. Locking a profit. A lot of patterns like this here. I think oil was that way too. Came down to the down here. That, I think Nike did it too. Went further. VIX futures. Russell. Gonna need some fresh meat there. See a little sideways pattern up here though. Let's see what's nice is the range begins to narrow. This was the breakout, didn't make it, kind of like ES up here. So we're back in here. Okay. So in theory, it'd be the world famous if you decided to short down here, your stop would be up here. But 3 days worth, right? Yeah, so, at some point, the trend's going to break out. The money is coming out here, so you may get some pros to come in and buy this here to support this. If they have all this in here, of course, why not, right? This was a little bit, you can see where okay, follow me on this one. Okay, price goes up, money flow stays underneath, price goes up, money flow. They're not really convinced. We come up here, now they're convinced. Now they're in it, okay? Basically, pullback, they got out of it, and they got back in. They're not sure up here, the chasers. I'm beginning to see strain in the chat rooms. Make it stop, make it stop. Well, That just tells me that there's another swing to catch more shorts on the upside. The Mexicans is kind of hanging in there for now. As it goes higher, the U.S. Mexican goes lower. Here's our dollar. So we poked our head through and we came back in. Should find it at a half, but you can see they just every time they poke in there, they're not interested for right now. The key here is to see what happens on the next swing higher to press towards the highs. But right now, it's they're not convinced that they want to take. Everybody's basically they're running into it and then they sell off to it to try and buy the dip, you know. So up here is the next time to see what happens if money flow comes out of it with higher prices. Basically, what that tells me is there are a lot of people who want to buy the dip. All right. So what we got going on here now, under 4, but when you look at the kind of the bigger picture here, it just looks like, you know, headed lower. It gave it a bounce. It's like the bottom fishers are coming in. It just does look like it's just going to continue lower here. 6N, same as 6A. It's kind of stalling there. All right. Going into Britain's close, or European close. Down on the day, so here's maybe an opportunity where we close up Europe on the lows and then trade higher. I should actually look at that's fives. Crude oil comes back in 2 years. Okay, so there's zippity doo-dah into debt. I mentioned that the Nikkei futures, same thing here too. Oh, if you like the Dow, you're gonna like the Nikkei. All right, you can see the moves here. I mean, they're just some fat moves. All right. Okay. Same thing there. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna let you guys go for the day. Europe closed red. See if we can get American indexes to go higher. That would force other folks to chase after us, since the futures do trade like that Nikkei I just pointed out. You can get on board if you think we're going to close higher today and force the rest of the planet to chase after us. That can happen, you know. It does. Stuff like that does happen. I talk about that. Close Europe at the lows, you know, that kind of thing. And then you just turn it. You know, they're like Unilever is traded overseas and it's traded here, that kind of thing. You know, left Unilever at one price in Europe, and then things adjust and they have to be arbed out, things of that nature. So I thank everyone who showed up today, and I'll do some more videos for you, and keep in touch. And we have EIA tomorrow, Natty Gas. Like I said, any weakness, I'd be interested in buying Natty Gas here. Let's take a look here. We're at the happy place. So that will be overhead resistance for now, and then what did I say, 80, 85 area next. Beans at the low. 6Cs still marching on. Nike pointed that one out. I guess I should look at Goldfields. GFI, I think it was. Didn't really pan out yesterday either. Wow. Okay, so that's GFI. I guess BZQ. Where are we at? 15 minute. Okay, so that was a pullback. Let's see what it was. Their techs. And it's done. I said Russ was another one to look at. Russ. Let's you'd be short Russia. techs and success. We were looking at chips. Chips coming. Oh, this is coming down. Okay, so SMH, right? SMH. Okay, vectors. Get the breakout going on. Okay. All right. Okay, so possibility of a double top up here to watch out for. BCQ, what do we got? Russ, oh, dust. Okay, dust sell off here. Looks like a just, I'm gonna have to treat this as just like, you know, it's, oh, with gold. Do I give it another day? I'd like to, you know, I'd like to see a wash. What I'd like to see dust and JDST go below this low. And then that would begin to lessen the risk of getting in. Same, I just kind of, this just doesn't feel like a pattern that's going to continue higher. This what will happen is the people that get in today and it reverses on them, you know, kind of like this here where you had the up day and it reverses on them, they'll be the ones to wash it out down to here, 25. So you have a stock go from 25 to 35. That's what I'd be looking for. Okay, and VX, this one should come down. So yeah, because of the rollover, this is all excess premium here that I'm looking for to be burnt out of it to bring this lower. See, they're getting out of it here. So that's what I'm looking for. I guess you could take a quick peek at that chart. Let's do that real quick. All right, I'll scan through these real quick and we'll be on our way. All right, this is put call ratio. This is total put call ratio. The lower end down here, extremes of call buying, and up above would be extremes of put buying. So November took off, we had a lot of put buying, and we're working our way back into call buying. Here, I wrote this down. Here's a Briggs spike. This is equity options. Okay, so this individual, Brexit, frothy put buyers, which was up here with the dump, and now on the call buyers. So that's why I'm a little apprehensive about these swings here. See what we can get with the call buyers. Index options, okay, basically stuck in the middle. This will be reset for the day. I was looking for something here on an all world index. So my bias is on the downside. This goes back here, 2002, swing up. This is our financial. We basically just kind of chopped. It's on a global basis, so we need the whole planet to get on board. Here's Mexico. This goes along with the Mexican currency. Okay. Yesterday I wrote this bar here. It was higher, then came back down. Same type of deal. It just seems like it's on a daily basis that it's kind of broken down for now. But this is a pause before heading lower. NASDAQ weekly 3-line break. So it's, you know, rolling over, but it's just giving you the bias here for right now. Our little pink dots, which is the summation index. This is number of issues participating, New York Stock Exchange above, and your NASDAQ below. And you can see that a lot of other issues are jumping on board now. Okay, and that's why we need to see the continuation of the NASDAQ to go higher with these issues so you get a broad-based rally. Wrote this morning, possibility of a double top on the NASDAQ here, or on the S&P, and this has about 2194 as resistance on here. This is a long-term support line. Okay. Gonna see some follow through here. You know, somebody wrote, you know, basically said, you know, give up the last 10% to save the 500%, that kind of thing. And currencies. This is Australian dollar and CAD. Okay. Had that on there because I was watching CAD. Okay, LABU, here's the bounce. Okay, we're up to, here are targets, but it's faltering. Bodies are coming in here. I'm expecting, if the equity indexes go higher, that this should continue to, but basically I look at it as just a bounce. The larger bear market. A lot of these have just been beaten up. That's why we're getting the bounce here. Seasonally too. So it's one of those things on the next swing higher, move your stops up pretty tight here. I mean, like I said, it's been a pretty good move, right? To what, 26 to 50. So you have a double in the same in 2 weeks. Treasury yields headed higher. I'm shooting up here, 5.4, 5.5. It's just 4.8. That's what I'm aiming for on the long end targets. This is March futures here. You can see the swing here where people got out. We talked about that on that put call ratio. They got out of it and they went running back into it. So what do we know? We know that there's a whole lot of bodies in here, and this is the March contract. And here's the December contract. So they got half back. So you're ending up with people who are in the March contract. So it's one of those where it's like, all right, that's where the pain would begin, is if they cleaned them all out again. So in a sense, I guess you could buy December and sell March on that kind of thing for spreading. If you wanted to go against the herd. The VIX down here, like I wrote, I think 29 and change, and then 27 and change for targets. Here's the Allergan thing I talked about. Why just like equities at time, you get a weekly buy signal down here, on a stock that's come from 100, so it's like, but you just splash it on the screen and cross your fingers, if you just do the whole mechanical thing. Like I said, I don't EBITDA or okay, get the dollar to come off here. Let's see how that works out. Probably my gold will probably bounce up, right? Let's get some crowding going on. Alphabet, the whole Goog deal. Basically found support at the top of the cloud. This is a weekly chart, and which is about halfway back. So it all comes down to everything on this side. It hasn't been oversold since before it took off at 520. To me, it's sideways action. It broke out, came back in halfway. So it needs to hold, or it'll reverse and come through, and then we're talking 560 on Google. Amazon, basically the same thing, except for it had a good stretch run, but you can see the unbalanced volume in here, pretty frothy. So basically the buy signal was when it came off the 285 level here. Okay, traded all the way up. And then, now we're up to here. This is also R1, and then it pulled back. Okay. Now, possibility here of a larger sideways channel. Because it's Amazon, right? We're assuming something's going to happen here with the holidays. Bank of America, these are weeklies, ran up to R2. Okay, I think there's just a lot of folks up here with the gap. You get a gap. What do you know? There's a lot of people. You can see the unbalanced volume up here. A lot of bodies up here. I'd like to see it pull back, at least retest like 18.5 for that. Beckington Dickinson, that went along with I forgot the other one's name. I think it's 4 letters. It was a $200 and something stock, I believe. This was basically a fade. That's kind of how I looked at it. It says medical supplies. Some biotechs are down. You have to find something out there, right? That just, if everything else behind is weak, just rotate out of stuff. Rotate out of what was good and go into the stuff that's bad. That's kind of how I look at it. You know, weekly PIMCO bond, you know, just it's every day that goes by, you know, the bond market interest rates, it's how we're looking at it here is we're working on an end game. Spike in this checkpoint software. I wrote that there was the buy sell deal here was quick. And then you know, sideways, the trend's going to break out. If it goes up, you go with it. If it goes down, you go with it. Because of all of this here and the recent reversal on the weekly, I kind of lean on the short side of checkpoint software. Bond prices, the angle of descent is what caught my eye. You know, you have your 45-degree angle and then it just slides. I'd like to see a relief of a little pressure there. Just kind of, here's a pivot area, and then I believe, what are these here? Oh, these are just horizontal lines. I just dropped in there for reference points. And the bigger picture going back here is 1994, la 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 la, and then we've rolled over. And you can see, you know, it was decent, and then the angle of ascent increased. So there's a, you know, I eventually think we're going to head back down into this area. You know, what do we have? 112 to 120. We're at 155 now, just due to the fact of how we look at the transfer of the wealth to another generation, and they will be spending it. I'm short on this computers type stuff here. Basically, just kind of rolled over. What did I say? Like a head and shoulders kind of thing going on here. Same thing again. Ooh. AutoCAD. Oh yeah, it came back. Now this is just FXA and FXC, so that's why you get the volume on here. I'll do that with individual currencies at times when there's, you know, I think that there's a lot of volume. Deutsche Bank here, just simple moving average, came above, it's basically pausing. Deutsche Bank again. This is what I wrote in Stock Twits. Guess who's not in Deutsche Bank? Volume washout. Does it move off that? It's at less than 50% or so, 50%. I'm an offshore with the oil. I kind of put, I think it's in a larger sideways channel. If it pokes through, so I just kind of put a fade up in here, a target below it. It goes up, but then comes through. I'm, you know, leaning towards oil is downside. Dead money kind of thing, you know, low suppressed prices for an extended period of time. Dead money kind of thing. You'll still get dividends and everything, but there just won't be that incentive to go after it. You know, won't have that capital gains. China and the Yang, that's one I forgot. I was checking those up. So gold is moving now. Oh boy. So all right, so there goes the dollar. Treasuries are swinging, which means equities will probably feel a pinch here. Okay, yang. There was the buy, accumulate emails I sent out in Target. It'll probably swing higher here if indexes falter here. This was the gold and the dust. This is a 34% off from the high of the signal. And I'm looking for down here. Actually, I'd like to see it a lot lower. Just all of a sudden, everybody that got into this, because there is a lot of unbalanced volume that got into it, just clean it out. Basically, clean them out. You know, this is the resistance on here. It's just a hard slide. It's just sharp moving gold higher. Dust, same thing. Okay, like down, you know, I said 23. I threw it out. I looked at this and I said, well, and you know how these work. One day you're DWTI and you're 200 a share, and then all of a sudden you're at 60 or whatever. I mean, the same type of principle here where get a percentage move, right? Gold's lower, so it moves up $50, that kind of thing. That 4 times is 12% drop. So 50, 40, now we're in the 30s here. So, I mean, if you're down to here, it wouldn't take much to get it down, to come down further. Miners nug, that was the swing here. Got a swing here. This move was a 40% move from the turn. And that was my thing of scale up swing kind of thing. So like if you're still in this, one more swing, maybe 10.5 from 875 in the nug. JDST, like I said, sweet safe powder. I posted that on, because I looked at this and I said, okay, Lala, what do you have? And I said, well, what are the odds of, what's this, JDST get to 16? So I guess it's 23 for dust and 16 for JDST. And I threw it out there. If something's at 46 or 36, and you say, hey, I think it's going to go to 16, you're going to take some crap. And that's what I do. And what's going to happen? Well, hey, give this to me at 16. I'll take some. Because you can see that it's going to be a multi-month low. Of course, if you're in the gold deal, on the swing, you decide, hey, I'm going to let this one run. Because you've seen the hard run in oil. A couple of think of that in gold. Same thing. Hard selling here. I put targets down here for just reference points. If you slide into this one, you're going to have to be quick on the gun here with this. I'm basically watching the metal, not as much as this. Russ, I put in a buy here. It came down to oil. So oil gets to 47, 48, 49, 50. Then what? Do we roll back down to the low 40s again? So it's one of those where I thought that the stock market yesterday and the move up in oil is pretty good to kind of like poke your little nose down in here. I'm kind of getting, I mean, look at it. It's, $10, $9, $8, that kind of thing. For buys. LABU, what are we at? This is a shorter term chart, 3 minutes. Okay, so this is a lot of sideways today. So we opened at the low and traded higher. It's just a little too quick. Okay, here Labu again, top of the cloud. And what kind of behavior do we have here? Yeah, that's right. We're talking about if it swings higher that we should put the stops up in here. Yeah, it's one of those where, like I said last week's video, you got to double, it's like, take it out and, find something else. But, it's, if the equities move higher or whatever, they may, what's it, tide raises all ships. SOX S, okay, what are we at weekly? Yeah, same thing here. So I'd be looking here on the whole dip deal. We did look at SMH and that kind of thing. Text the same thing. See, it's kind of saucer bottom, unbalanced volume. So I'd be interested in eyeballing this. They are kind of thin. But I mean, if you get something to go from 20 to 30, there's another 50%. So it's worth your time to watch these here. Okay, so this is coal. Okay, this went along with people were talking about coal, and I looked at coal and I thought, well, it's kind of losing its upward momentum. So at best, it's a sideways pattern, continuation before going higher. There was the China thing in there too, so I kind of said, well, this is American coal versus Asian coal. So also you have the Donald Trump thing here too. It's still economics. We're going to provide incentives to burn coal. Here's dries. Are we going yet? We're still stalled on this thing, which means since I'm not following anything, it's going to be quite the interesting deal, won't it? DWTI. Okay, so this would be the downside of oil, but the unbalanced volume when it gets about 50%, it's kind of like an RSI. Today's move in oil, if it holds, in the face of a lot more supply, is a tell. This eagle one, basically, I've liked the shippers, but the problem is you never know which one's going to go bankrupt. That kind of
Eventually,
it'll like FRO and that FRO, national NAT, what, you know, uh, you know, Egypt. Egypt is a swing. That was a wide slide. I guess this whipped up a name. Wide slide. The bars here, what do we have? 25 and a half, 28 and a half area. $3. That's 15%. You can take it, move on. It's a thin one too. It's one of those where, it'll eventually come back kind of thing, even though if it does trade lower. So if you're in that, take some profits. XLE, this one is interesting. It's poked its head through and reversed. So caution there. That's for all this year. You may have a double top here. Even though you're getting oil to go up, you may have a double top in the stocks. And what do we have here? ESC, I think this is an earnings deal. Lots of unbalanced volume here. All right, the Mexico deal here, but I just think it's a bear flag underneath support for right now. The Freeport, this was the shorts were put on basically it would be the open, like over the weekend kind of thing. Monday open and then add. It's still frothy and the unbalanced volume. The last sells were down here. You figure at least going to come back into plus or minus the $10 area. Yeah, I have to see about today's close though. Those put spreads were, I think, 30, 40 cents in that area, 35 to 45 kind of thing. I just figured that there'd be a pullback of some sort. Here's 3%. Gold continuous, looking back in the 80s, 5 years down, 5 years down, 3 years up. Here's the 1 year, a couple of years that would work for me, 2017, 2018. And then the recession hits and everything, then gold would come flying down. The gold fields, 335. So here was my buy on the open. That's where the buy was. Okay. So we did trade higher, we traded lower, so possibility of a double bottom, and these were just targets. I threw it out there. Some of you have different, some of you are like $3 stocks, and some 300, that kind of deal. I just looked at it as well, if gold can spike up, a lot of these, just like the little guys in the NASDAQ, the pink dots, same thing can happen here. It's some go in and hit it and leave, so it's just kind of there it is, this one, Granger. Okay, so the industrial, this one is looking kind of weak here. A lot of sideways here. And recently lower. Okay, so this was a scale up fade, basically, I think double top here. That could have a possibility of sliding pretty hard down here. Okay, so here's coffee, same thing again. The short was into the breakout. Okay, because the coffee on the contract was getting frothy and being pressed. The same thing again, the ad was on over the weekend, ad shorts. Basically Monday, traded down. Possibility of a swing up in here to 24.8. They're still holding on for hope here. did come down and retest, but it could end up being a larger sideways pattern for now. Now this is one I was looking at yesterday. I put out, I think I just threw out a buy on it. The thing here was this is midterm, okay? And I was expecting, you know, the front end, the short term to roll down into here, but the midterm seemed to be holding up. So they were willing to kind of go along with the short end of things, like say a year-end rally, but they weren't too thrilled about it going forward into next year. So that kind of held up, and it's kind of oversold in this. So this would be one of those I'd be interested in buying on any weakness here. It's holding up today. Quada and VXX, this is what I was looking for here. Accumulate, you know, if we get the equities to move up, if we get some more swings, comes down to here, like 20, these were accumulates because these are going to be new lows, right? New lows, and it's sliding into it and has that extra fluff from the rollover. And so that's how I kind of looked at things here. Where's my Japanese yen? Japanese yen. Okay. And the Canadian dollar. Okay. All right. It's Japanese and 109.13. All right. Okay. Like I said, you know, on any weakness here because of the fluff of the rollover, I'd accumulate VXX, and for some of you with pockets in that, writing naked puts. You know, if you say, hey, I'll buy it, you know, I'll buy at the money at 30, at the money at 29, at the money at 28, or in the money, in the money, in the money, in the money. You know, if it begins to come down here, you can, you know, short it at 30 if you think it's going to come back, or buy down here, that kind of thing. But that's how I'd be treating it to buy any weakness here, any strength in the stock market. A lot of, you know, what do we have? You know, this is 2012. Biotechs go up, come down, sideways pattern, sell off, sideways pattern. You know, I can see it coming down. It's just one of those things, you know. Think about it that way. Here is in biotech, is it as difficult as every time we have a new cycle to find drugs, just like it is to go digging for oil and stuff. LBJ, that was Latin America bull, and this one was a short, you know. Okay. All right. Basically a short, but it is pretty whippy and it's thin though. Just an eyeball one. Here was talked about Nike being up 2 to 4. Where are we here? So here was the buy from the close the previous day. It did open up here though, but from what I've heard, people scaled down into this thing. So I'm basically looking for a swing higher up through here. So that's at, I guess it's about $1.50 or so, but this is a shorter 15-minute, chart. The deal was it was oversold per se. Okay. Coming into, I'm looking for a bounce in equities, you know, and so you find the weakest one, figured to have the biggest spring. And of course, the Nike isn't really going anywhere. I thought today maybe off the back at Target would get some follow through. So basically, if we get a swing here, I'd be interested in, you know, tightening up the stop and kind of moving on here. It's kind of like the whole gold thing and the dollar. It's taking a little bit longer. Patience, grasshopper, patience. And oversold on the Noble here and swing higher. I don't know how high gas or oil is going to go. But, you know, a lot of these eventually they'll go sideways for a while. You want to accumulate for the next cycle. NVIDIA here, part of the whole semiconductor deal. The whole gap deal and everything. This is one of those that if the market is going to go higher here, I'd be looking to go against it here because of how far it's moved over the years. You know, what do we have here for PEs and stuff? I don't know. Whatever, you know. Or if you're long, you know, start writing options against it, because it's one of those things that once, you know, the party is over, you know, there's going to be a lot of air under some of these here. And, you know, now they're getting on board. You know, where were they back when? You know, that kind of thing. Wrote down here 2 times low on here, and it's not, we're not getting it here. I think we're going to head lower. Yeah. Okay. Short the open here was the deal. So November short zone, we're back into this range. It's one, you know, it's like I said, short term, yeah, we're getting a series of higher lows, but we're in a larger sideways pattern. So anything under here, what is this, 112 or so? Run. And you know, where it's up here, it's the whole frothy thing. You know, it's a little late to be getting really excited. That's how I look at it. EZQ, same thing with Brazil, depending upon how the markets move up or not today. We had it yesterday. We need to see some continuation here, or it's just going to be the world famous one-off day. All right. So after the Brexit, you know, my post beforehand on the swing higher on your own. This is R1. Okay. Frothy talk began. I started taking prep. We had a pretty good move down. This was the unbalanced volume washout of the individual contract. The put call ratio was extreme, and now we're back the other way, and now the calls are getting to be extreme. All right, so it's, you know, I'll go along with the bias here, but cautious. You know, you get whipped back and forth. After a while, you begin to give up. Heroes are talking about moving from S2 to R2. It's at 2191. So the old, you know, it's a 5% move up. Okay. It did relieve the put call ratio. All right. Now they're all buying calls, but you can see here that washed it out and they're coming back in. This was Serb Bank of Russia, so this goes along with it. London Stock Exchange just kind of had its march up, and then so the trend's going to break out either higher or lower. And this one was the short side of things here, just due to this here. Of course, we need one more leg of follow through, and then that should get her going. All right, I posted this one yesterday. You know, whatever, spinning top. These are weekly. Qs stuck in the middle, possible head-shoulder action. And here you have just the world famous, really spinning top. So what do we know? Everybody from this week is all up in here in the Russell. You know, is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Well, Kevin said the stock market's going to double. Could this be a measuring gap? You know, or at least on the way to 250. Double this again. So 434. So, you know, it's getting towards 5,000 is not a problem. What is this? YM at or below? So the Dow is beginning to lose it here. Now this was a short on earnings. See, it had the frothiness up here too. Why is there a B? Short by, previous here? Okay. Tesaro, here we go, to go along with Beckington Dickinson. Same thing. Oh, short also BDX. That was the short spike there. Just frothy. It's not neither that I'm a bullish or bearish. It's just whatever I see on the chart. Yeah, it's the whole thing. That's all it is It's those times I come across something where it's way against the herd, and that's when I uh, you know, you have to set it up and convince people that that's what we're doing here, you know. Okay, that was a goofy percentage. Swiss francs, huh? $107.10 on the euro. Yeah, bad news here. They're pulling equities back on the Dow's taking it here. What did I have here? Oh, highs here. Short, didn't write anything in there though. UGAS, I'll use this for short-term sentiment. For like commitment of traders and open interest, this just gives me an active running sentiment of what's going on here. Gosh, this does look like it wants to roll over, doesn't it? Well, we shall see, won't we, in the next couple of weeks. Utilities going to have an issue having to fight with bonds for yield, and they're also going to face capital loss. Maybe for the bulls here, what is this, 2 hour inverted head and shoulders is the best I can do for the bulls, but you can see UWTI, it's getting frothy again up in here. Yeah, it's like a bear market bounce. Use the cloud as resistance. Valiant, all right. Awfully quiet. This was that weekend thing I was telling you about. You know, awfully quiet and Valiant comes down. Following day, some sort of, we're going to sell off some stuff, gets to the top of the cloud. It's like, okay, psychology, what do you know? They're all in there. And then I wrote down here, keep powder. We gapped. That was an exhaustion gap. We've come up. So what do we know? Not a lot of people getting on board. You could actually run Valiant. You know, run Valiant higher. You could do it. Okay, cool. This looked like a head and shoulders kind of thing. Okay, Egypt again. We looked at that. Yeah, getting a little frothy here on the old unbalanced volume on oil here. And this was the spread of long UWTI and short DWTI. So that was, I'm just seeing between the two of them, the ratio between the two. And gold, okay, so 1030. So, 60 cents. That's 6%, Kev. There's 10% on the move. Yeah, nobody is in there. This is the shoulder head shoulder situation here is how I kind of drew this out on the XIV. But more than happy to just start accumulating down. All of 2018, 2019, and 2020, those of you watching this one for sure. You can see here, you know, if we're whacking out to new highs, it's not making it. I said it was broken. This is a whole mathematical thing. after the high, and then China, and then up, and then breaks it. It's losing its momentum. So the deal here would be to short the rallies. It's how I look at it. You know, short. This is our little princesses. You know, I'm doing the short and stuff up in here. We're still good to go, right? And you're getting the fluff up in here again. And here would be the Wilshire total market. So we're poking our nose through here. And the put call ratio, we saw an extreme. So now I should actually work on some lines on the other side for some extremes. This is a daily? Was ist los? Oh, yeah, Wednesday, okay. Woodward. Okay, this is a fade up here because of this unbalanced volume. See, you have a big bar, you have continuation, big bar, you know, gap inside the cloud support, and a trigger went below it. Okay, all of a sudden strong bar, lots of volume. So what do you know? There's a lot of bodies in here, and now you have an inside day. So what do? You just pull it back. Think about that one. What do we have? 67, 62. So this is, this is 8% here. I mean, these are some pretty wide numbers here. We're calling it a week kind of deal, So I'm going to leave you here. I guess let's take a look and run through these real quick. Targets, arrows, fro. So they're going after the other shippers, which is fine. I'm talking about them for a while. Transports, they're going nutso, aren't they? They're pretty much going gonzo in there. Yeah, that would be the world famous bullying stuff around. Yeah. Euros, marine transportation. It's insanity at its finest, but that's what I was telling you about. This time of the year, things begin to thin down. People have to make it up. That's like the boutiques. I think Night one year, a few years back, our computers went bonkers, and then they got stuck with it. It's like, yeah, if you're going to play those games, and put some fairness in there. Yeah, it's all insanity. It's finest. But that's what it was with the dots. I was telling you, if the stuff's going to come in, it'll be the crap. They're going to run it. These guys are just nutsoid. Lenco shipping, marine, blah, blah, blah. I was hoping for that they'd throw out the LNG guys. That's what I'd be interested in. So there you go. You guys all have a wonderful day. Take care. And thank you for stopping by.